Power 102.7 FM, the pride of the people.
Yes, it's an amazing Friday morning to you listeners out there. The program you're on to is In the Papers, coming to you from the stables of our Power 102.7 FM. It is a program where we preview and review to you headlines and news making rounds in the papers for your listening pleasure. I am Inioluwa Adekoya. And now talking headlines, I've got with me the Old newspaper, the Punch newspaper, the Daily Post newspaper, and the Nation's newspaper. Right about now, I will go on a short break. When I get back, I'll dish out the headlines we've got for you in the papers this morning. Glad to have you back. Like I made mention earlier, the program is in the papers on iPower 102.7 FM. Beginning on the top of the list of our headlines this morning from the Herb newspaper, and also starting from Ondo State. Ondo government intervenes as strange odor rents parts of Akure. Still talking on those State on the old newspaper, Ayedatiwa effect electricity sector amendment law. And now talking state police, presidency extends deadline for public submissions. Now moving to Ekiti State, I'll become Nigerian's cultural tourism creative economic hub, says Oyebanji, and that is on the Daily Post newspaper. And now moving to Plateau State, Plateau government creates new ministry. Court dismisses 200 million naira right suit against police in Bauchi. That is on the Daily Post newspaper. And now back to Ondo State. Popular Nigerian pastor abandons Christianity, turns Babalawo. Still taking headlines from the Daily Post newspaper. Now moving to Osun State. Adeleke never bought me a car, says ex-governor Inioluwa. And now moving to the Punch newspaper, still taking headlines, talking governorship poll, police lockdown, Osun DIG, 30 CPs deployed. Still talking 2027 on the Punch newspaper, Makinde picks ex-DS as DG Dara as running mate rallies opposition. Yes, and now moving to international matters. Ireland's image found on cocaine packages seized in Ecuador, and that is on the Punch newspaper. Yeah, still talking 2027. Abiodun Daniel trade fresh blows over political allegiance, and that is also on the Punch newspaper. And to the nation's newspaper, 7 insurers raise a recapitalized firm to 50. And finally, taking headlines from the nation's newspaper, talking strike, aviation ministry and CAA, airline operators, others meet over debt repayment. Yes, and with that, I would go on another short break. When I get back, I will dish out more news making rounds in the papers this morning. The program is in the papers on iPower 102.7 FM, and I will be right back. Yes, welcome back. Welcome back. Like I made mention earlier, the program is in the papers coming to you from the stables of iPower 102.7 FM. And now beginning on the top of the list of our news this morning from the Old newspaper, Ondo government intervenes as strange order rents parts of Akure. And now to the details. The Ondo state government is attributed the persistent and offensive strange odor being experienced by residents in parts of Accra, the state capital metropolis, to air pollution caused by the release of certain organic compounds in the atmosphere. It equally dispelled widespread speculations that the Ala River was the source of the offensive odor, stressing that relevant agencies have commenced investigations to determine the precise nature and source of the odor that has generated concerns among residents in affected parts of the state. The government disclosed this in a statement issued by the Director of Publicity, Ministry of Environment, Henry Johnson, on Lagundoyi, as investigations continue to determine the precise nature and source of the odor that has generated concerns among residents in affected parts of the state. The investigation, according to the statement, followed a directive by the Commissioner of Environment, Dr. Tab Loko, who ordered the constitution of a team of environmental professionals to work alongside environmental consultants to establish the source and characteristics of the unusual odor. It stated that the team conducted preliminary investigation into the situation, including the earlier speculation that the Ala River could be responsible for the offensive odor. However, the preliminary findings have now indicated that the river course is not the source. The statement that the odor as a manifestation of air pollution arising from the release of certain organic compounds into the atmosphere. It noted that investigations were still ongoing to conclusively identify the specific organic compound or compounds involved, determine their characteristics, and establish the precise source of the emission. Government therefore called on residents in affected communities to take precautionary measures while the investigation continues. It also stated that the residents will perceive the offensive odor should limit their exposure to it and use nose mask when in affected areas. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the Herb newspaper with the headline, Ondo government intervenes as strange odor rents parts of Accra. Yeah, still taking news from the Old newspaper. Ayedatiwa effect electricity sector amendment law. And now to the details. Ondo State Governor Honorable Lucky Orimisan Ayedatiwa has assented to the Ondo State Electric Power Sector Amendment Law 2026, strengthening the legal and institutional framework for the regulation and development of electricity generation, transmission, distribution and sales in the state. The assent, dated the 30th of July 2026, followed the passage of the bill by the Ondo State House of Assembly and amended the Ondo State Electric Power Sector Law 2020. The amendment aligns the state electricity legislation with constitutional and statutory development in Nigerian power sector, particularly the constitutional amendment and enactment of the Electricity Act 2023. It retains that 2020 law as the principal legislation while introducing provision for the decentralized electricity market and clarifying the state powers and responsibilities in regulating electricity activities within its jurisdiction. At the center of the amended law is the establishment of the State Electricity Regulatory Commission (SERC), an independent body charged with regulating electricity matters and standards across the state. The legislation empowers the Commission to regulate tariffs, open access, franchises, third-party investment, mini-grid and renewable energy development, as well as tariff methodology and other areas of the electricity market. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the Herb newspaper with the headline, Inioluwa Affects Electricity Sector Amendment Law. Yeah, still on the Herb newspaper, talking state police. Presidency extends deadline for public submissions. And now to the details. The federal government has extended the window for public input into the proposed national policing bill, with the presidential working group setting the 21st of August as the new deadline for submissions. In a statement signed by the Chief of Staff to the President and Chairman of the Presidential Working Group, Femi Gbajabiamila, the group said the extension was to provide interested individuals, institutions and organizations with adequate opportunities to make substantive contributions to the proposed legislation. The proposed legislation is designed to provide the operational, administrative, institutional and funding framework required for an effective policing architecture that responds to Nigerians' evolving security needs while ensuring appropriate safeguards for accountability, professionalism and the protection of citizens' rights. Gbajabiamila urged legal practitioners, civil society organizations, security sector professionals, state government, professional bodies, academics, experts and interested members of the public to take advantage of the extended window. It said the memoranda and position papers must be submitted exclusively through the official National Policing Bill portal, nationalpolicingbill.com, on or before the new deadline. According to him, developing an effective policing framework requires careful consideration of critical issues, including sustainable funding, command and control structures, recruitment and training standards, operational jurisdiction, interagencies coordination, accountability mechanism, and safeguard against political interference or abuse. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the Herb newspaper with the headline, State Police Presidency extends deadline for public submission. Yes, still talking Herb newspaper. Federal government reopens 3 bonds worth 1.1 trillion naira for investors. And now to the details. The Debt Management Office, DMO, on behalf of the federal government, has announced an offer of 3 FGN bonds valued at about 1.1 trillion naira for subscription at 1,000 per unit. According to the statement by the DMO in Abuja, the first offer is January 2035 FGN bond valued at 250 billion naira, 10 years reopening at interest rate of 2.60% per annum. The second offer is an April 2037 FGN bond valued at 100 billion naira, 20 years reopening at interest rate 16.2499% per annum. The federal government has also reopened a June 2038 FGN bond valued at 750 billion naira, 15-year reopening at interest rate of 15.45% per annum. Auction date is the 17th of August and settlement date is the 19th of August. The FGN bonds are offered at 1,000 per unit, subject to minimum subscription of 50 million naira and a multiple of 1,000 naira thereafter. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the Herb newspaper with the headline: Federal government reopens 3 bonds worth 1.1 trillion naira for investors. And now moving over to the Punch newspaper, talking governorship poll. Police lockdown Osun. DIG 30 CPs deployed. And now to the details. The Nigerian police force said as many as 30 commissioners of police will be on duty during the Osun state governorship election, which holds across the state on Saturday. This was disclosed by the Force Public Relations Officer, CSP Anite Iniadu, while addressing journalists in Oshogbo, Osun State on Friday on the police preparation for the governorship poll. Governor Ademola Adeleke of the Accord Party, Bola Oyebabiji of the All Progressive Alliance, and the African Democratic Congress candidate Najim Salam led the race for the state top job. Iniadu, who said the police commenced the deployment of its personnel 3 weeks before the poll, said the Deputy Inspector General of Police would coordinate security activities during the poll. According to him, over 15,000 police operatives would be on duty during the poll, noting that a police helicopter and drone unit had arrived in the state to conduct area surveillance. The father said 2 units of the mobile police force, each comprising of over 60 personnel, had been deployed to the state headquarters of the Independent National Electoral Commission in Oshogbo, the state capital. Similarly, he said each local government areas in the state would have a unit of a police mobile force. We also have a Deputy Commissioner of Police in each local government area, as well as a Mobile Police Commander and PMF Commander with the rank of Assistant Commissioner of Police in each local government area. The Force PRO also said the Army would cordon off all the barrier roads leading into Osun State from 12 a.m. on Saturday. He advised parents to warn their children against electoral offences, including intimidation, stalking, vote buying, ballot box snatching, It said a mobile court would be in place to try anyone arrested for involvement in electoral offences. Several police operatives deployed for Saturday's governorship poll were observed at the state police headquarters, moving to various areas of operations. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the Punch newspaper with the headline, Governorship Poll, Police Lockdown Osun, DIG, 30 CPs deployed. Yes, still on the Punch newspaper, still talking 2027. Makinde picks ex-DSSDG Daura as running mate, rallies opposition. And now to the details. The presidential candidate of the Allied People's Movement and Governor of Oyo State, Seyi Makinde, has announced former Director General of the Department of State Services, Lawal Dara, as his running mate for the 2027 presidential election. Makinde announced this at the elective national convention of the APM held at the Rwanu Adamu Square Government House, Bauchi. Lawal replaces Ibrahim Bala, who was earlier announced as Makinde's running mate, but was intended to be a placeholder. The former DSSDG joined the APM a few days ago after resigning from the African Democratic Congress after losing the Castina ADC governorship ticket. Speaking on Dara's choice, Makinde disclosed that he was deliberately chosen to solve the security situation of the country. At the convention, Yusuf Dantale was re-elected as the national chairman of the APM. Speaking at the convention, Makinde declared that the task before the opposition ahead of the 2027 general election was bigger than merely winning power. He said the central challenge was to give Nigerians a genuine choice about the future of the country and demonstrate with measurable plans and records how an alternative government would improve their lives. He urged the new leadership of the party to work with other opposition political parties towards presenting a credible alternative for Nigeria in 2027, stressing that a viable opposition remained indispensable to the survival of democracy. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the Punch newspaper with the headline, 2027 Makinde picks ex-DSSDG Dara as running mate, rallies opposition. Yes, and now to international matters. Ireland's image found on cocaine packages seized in Ecuador. And now to the details. Ecuadorian police have seized 369 kilograms of cocaine from a truck near the Colombian border, with the packages bearing the image of Norwegian football star Erling Haaland. Recent reports that the anti-narcotics officer recovered the cocaine after acting on an anonymous tip and stopping a suspicious truck on the Pan American Highway. A police statement said the officers discovered 370 packages of cocaine concealed in a false compartment of the truck, leading to the arrest of the driver. Police footage released after the operation showed the packages carrying stickers featuring Ireland, who emerged as one of the standout players at the 2026 FIFA World Cup after scoring 7 goals in 4 matches. The authorities did not explain the reason for the footballer's image being used on the packages. However, CNN reported that it is a common practice for drug traffickers to label their shipment with the name of well-known sports figures and other celebrities as a way of indicating which criminal network produced the merchandise and which client it belonged to. The report said Alan's popularity soared during the World Cup, with his performance and personality making him a major figure in a viral social media content. Alan is not the only football star whose image has reportedly been used by drug traffickers. The image of Argentina national captain Lionel Messi has also appeared on another seized package. The operation took place in Gagao Negro area near Tulcan, about 246 kilometers north of Ecuador capital Quito. Police said a woman identified as Maria R., who was carrying Colombian identity documents, was also arrested during the operation. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the Punch newspaper with the headline, Alan's image found on cocaine packages seized in Ecuador. Yes, so now moving to Ogun State, talking 2027, Abiodun Daniel trade fresh blows over political allegiance. And now to the details. The political rift between Ogun State Governor Dapo Abiodun and his predecessor Gbenga Daniel has deepened, with both camps trading fresh claims over political loyalty ahead of the 2027 general election. Abiodun accused Daniel of appearing to have moved away from the mainstream of the All Progressive Congress with a stylish support for the candidate of the People's Democratic Party for the 2027 governorship election, Ladi Adebutu. Daniel loyalists, however, dismissed the claims, insisting that the former governor's political family, to which Adebutu belongs, remained firmly behind him. Abiodun, in a statement made available to newsmen by his special advisor on information and strategy, Kayode Akimade, said he was advised against supporting Daniel to go to the Senate in 2023 because of concerns that he might eventually turn against him. He reportedly stated that while receiving some members of the Daniels political family and the late Buruji Kashamo political group into the mainstream of the APC in Abeokuta, the governor was said to have described the decision of the loyalists to return to the mainstream of the party as a significant step towards strengthening the ruling party ahead of the 2027 general election. Abiodun, who revisited the political development of 2023 during the meeting, revealed that he was advised against supporting Daniel on margins as the APC senatorial candidate because of concerns that the former governor might eventually go against him. The governor was quoted as saying, despite the warnings, he supported Daniel because he respected him as a former governor and is believed that political disagreement should not diminish the respect accorded former occupants of the seat. The governor further recalled an occasion at which, according to him, Daniel expressed uncertainty over who would emerge as the next governor of Ogun State, despite one of the contestants being a member of his political party. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the Punch newspaper with the headline 2027, Abiodun Daniel trade fresh blows over political allegiance. Yes, the program is still in the papers on iPower 102.7 FM. Right about now, I would go on a short break. When I get back, the phone lines will be officially open for comments and contributions as regards any headlines or news that piques your interest. I will be right back. Yes, glad to have you back. Like I made mention earlier, the program is in the papers on iPower 102.7 FM. The phone lines are officially open for comment and contributions as regards any of the headlines that piques your interest. The number to call is 0816 552 4699 0816 552 4699 for comments and contributions to any of the news read out to you or any of the news you're particularly interested in. You can call us in on 0816 552 4699. And I'm moving over to the Daily Post newspaper where we've got this coming from the ICPC chairman, Aliyu. As he says, corruption remains Nigerians' greatest challenge. And now to the details. The chairman of the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, Dr. Musa Adamu Aliyu, SAN has revealed that corruption remains the greatest problem confronting Nigerians at the moment, saying it must be tackled with all seriousness if Nigeria is to make deserved progress. Aliyu, a senior advocate of Nigeria, said although corruption has become a universal problem, Nigeria has its own fair share. The ICPC boss spoke in Abuja at a lecture he delivered on anti-corruption reforms, economic stability and effective communication. The legal luminary conversed the corruption be seriously tackled with legal instruments as millions of dollars are lost to bribes in the country. He noted with regret that public officers who are supposed to be shining examples of to youths are neck deep in economic crime, using consultants as conduct pipe to carry out corruption agenda. The ICPC boss recalled one of the major corruption incidents stumbled upon by ICPC in 2012. Involving $65 million, which was supposed to be used to build houses for public officers to ease the accommodation crisis. Aliyu noted that rather than using the huge fund for the purpose, the people involved opted to pocket the money by abandoning the purpose of the release of the fund, highlighting the dangers of prevalent corruption. The ICPC boss said unless it is effectively tackled, the economy will not attract investment because, according to him, no investor will invest in any country where corruption flourishes. On the part of ICPC in combating the economic crime, Aliyu assured that the agency will henceforth focus on strengthening the weak system that has refused to make the country's economy grow at the deserved pace. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the Daily Post newspaper with the headline, Corruption Remains Nigerians' Greatest Challenge, ICPC Chairman Aliyu says. Yes, you can still call us. The phone lines are still open for comments and contributions as regards any of the news that piques your interest. The number to call is 0816 552 4699 0816 552 4699. You can also reach out to us on our social media handles on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, and watch us live on iPower 1027 FM. And now back to the Daily Post newspaper, moving to Ogun State. Customs seizes 3.57 billion naira contraband in Ogun, vows to make broader hostile for smugglers. And now to the details. The Nigerian Customs Service, Ogun 1 Area Command, has intercepted smuggled goods worth 3.57 billion naira in duty-paid value. The agency vowed to make Ogun border corridors hostile for smugglers and drug traffickers. The acting area controller, Deputy Comptroller Olukayode Afeni, disclosed this in a statement during a press briefing at the command headquarters in Idiroko. He stated that the seizures were part of intensified operations from the 24th of June to date aimed at protecting local industries and national security. Among the items seized were 2,339 bags of foreign parboiled rice, 70 cartons of basmati rice, 6,035 parcels of Ghana loud indica, 30 bags of foreign sugar 50 kg, 11,450 liters of PMS in kegs, 1,750 liters of drums, 30 kegs of diesel, 100 bags of fertilizers, and 67 bales of second-hand clothing. Other items include 47 cartons of cosmetics, 36 packages of hair accessories, 2,674 pieces of new trouser shorts, 3,760 pieces of new tops, 480 cartons of drinks, 53 package of oat, 85 fire extinguishers, 127 pieces of new purses, and 3 packages of surgical shoes. Afedi describes smuggling as economic sabotage that is killing local jobs and threatening food security, warning that smuggled rice poses health risk as it is often rebagged under unhygienic condition or stored for years past its safe consumption date. When foreign rice is smuggled into our market, it undermines our local farmers. Government and local entrepreneurs have invested billions to achieve self-sufficiency. Unimpeded smuggling forces local mills to close and leave our farmers bankrupt. Agriculture is one of our largest employers of youth. By buying smuggled foreign grain, we export jobs to other countries while worsening unemployment at home. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the Daily Post newspaper with the headline, Customs seizes 3.57 billion naira contraband in Ogun vows to make border hostile for smugglers. Yes, and now to the Daily Post newspaper talking CDCFIB recruitment. Federal government disowns postponement notice. And now to the details. The Federal Ministry of Interior has dismissed the widely circulated notice claiming the ongoing recruitment exercise by the Civil Defense Correctional Fire and Immigration Service Board to the CFIB has been postponed until after the 2027 general election. The ministry described the document with the title CDCFIB Recruitment Update dated the 11th of August 2026 as fake and fraudulently attributed to the Minister of Interior Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo. In a statement issued recently, it said, and I quote, "The ministry wishes to state equivocally that this press release is fake, unauthorized and fraudulent. The minister did not sign or issue this statement." The ministry also rejected claims that funding challenges and forced the government to suspend the exercise, insisting that no such decision had been taken. The ministry urged the public to rely on official communication channels for recruitment update. The statement was electronically signed by the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Interior, Dr. Magdalene Ajani, who also warned applicants to be cautious of the misleading recruitment information circulating online. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the Daily Post newspaper with the headline CDCFIB Recruitment. Federal Government disowns postponement notice. Yes, and now to still on the Daily Post newspaper, popular Nigerian pastor abandons Christianity, turns herbalist. And now to the details. A popular Ondo State pastor, Olabanjo Felix Gold, has announced his decision to leave Christianity and embrace Isheshe Babalao. Olabanji, who previously founded Image of God Evangelical and Prophetic Ministries, disclosed this in a decision shared in a video posted online. In the recording, the former cleric introduced himself by his new spiritual identity, explaining that his personal spiritual journey had led him from Christianity to Ifa practice, and said he was formerly known as Pastor Olabanjo Felix Gold, the founder of Image of God Evangelic Ministries, but now identifies as Ifawamiri Amuron Uludumare Babalawo of Ifa. Olabanji also expressed gratitude to traditional spiritual elders who he credited with guiding him through his transition into the practice. He particularly acknowledges Oluwo Baba Afiwupe, Olusegun Latunji, and whom he identified as the Araba of Isara Remo. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the Daily Post newspaper with the headline, Popular Nigerian Pastor Abandons Christianity, Turns Herbalist. And now moving back to Osun State on the Daily Post newspaper, Adeleke never bought me a car, says ex-governor Inioluwa. And now to the details. From Osun State Governor Olagunsoye Inioluwa denied the incumbent governor Ademola Adeleke bought him a car. Inioluwa made the rebuttal during an interview with Channels Television Politics Today. He cited the law of Osun State that mandates the provision of a vehicle to ex-governors every 4 years. The former governor said he has been out of office for 16 years, implying that the state has had to replace its car frequently. According to him, the law enacted by the State House of Assembly is a factual development and not misinformation, noting that the provision of a vehicle is not tied to individual governors. He said, and I quote, that he is far from the truth, and it is a sad development that the governor will continue to tell lies. The Osun State House of Assembly enacted a law whereby some benefits will accrue to whosoever has governed the state. One of the things that is accrued to a former governor is that for every 4 years, his vehicle should be changed. It wasn't a delegate that gave me a car, but Osun State government. It is the law. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the Daily Post newspaper with the headline, Osun Adeleke never bought me a car, ex-governor Inioluwa says. Yes, so now taking a flight to the nation's newspaper talking strike, aviation ministry, NCAA, airline operators, others meet over debt repayment. And now to the details. Aviation and Aerospace Development Minister Festus Keyamo has met with aviation unions, Airline Operations of Nigeria (AON), and heads of aviation agencies to resolve the dispute that recently led to the disruption of flight operations at some airports. The parties reached an agreement at the emergency meeting. The minister convened to address the issue that caused the face-off between domestic airline operators and the union. The agreement reached at the meeting is contained in a statement by the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Mahmood Kambari. Under the new arrangement, the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, NCAA, and other aviation agencies are to obtain payment scheduled for airlines and are indebted to them, with the repayment period spread over a reasonable time frame. The repayment arrangement are to take into account the airline's cost of operations and prevailing economic realities. The Director of Finance and Accounts of the Aviation Agency are also expected to meet with individual airlines within 1 week to agree on realistic repayment plans. The meeting also addressed the right of aviation workers to freely choose whether or not to belong to a union. If that news aligns with your interest, it is on the nation's newspaper with the headline, Strike, Aviation Ministry, NCAA, airline operators, others meet over debt repayment. Yes, the program is in the papers on iPower 102.7 FM, and our time is fast spent on the program this morning. We will call it a wrap on today's edition, but before we do that, let us go on a short break. I will be right back.